Hey there, welcome to The Secret to Buying an Apartment Complex with Other People's Money. And other people's money is the best kind of money. And thank you for joining us. So, first things first, who in the heck am I? Well, I am Sam Sells, a full time commercial real estate syndicator, serial entrepreneur, and passionate impact investor. I flipped my first single family home in the early 2000s while active duty military and continued flipping homes until 2018 when we ventured into commercial real estate with our first purchases of mobile home parks. Back then, I only had $30,000 to my name, um, but that's how we got started. Since then, we have completed nearly 2 dozen commercial real estate syndications, joint ventures, partnerships, and we have bought everything from storage, apartment complexes, mobile home parks, land deals, and are actively engaged in impact investing today. In fact, we're working on um, all sorts of things. So you can find out more about me at wildmountaincapital.com or syndicationlaunch.com, as you see there at the bottom of the screen. You can also find me on LinkedIn and Instagram. LinkedIn, I'm at Samuel Sells, and Instagram, Clean Money Sam. I like to talk about our investments, how we invest. Or like and subscribe to the Wild Mountain Capital YouTube channel or Clean Money podcast, where you can hear all sorts of great stories, the things that we've done, different interviewers, and especially our the things they don't tell you about in real estate when you get in, and crazy stories that we've had that are just plain crazy. So, first things first, now you know who I am, but now I'm going to tell you the secrets. And the first thing you need to do is learn the rules and regulations before you ever go out and try and raise other people's money. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we're just too pretty for prison, and there's no amount of money in the world that would make me leave my family and do something really, really dumb and go to prison. All right, so don't do that. Many syndicators have gone bankrupt, lost millions of dollars, and even some have gone to prison. So find a mentor who has done dozens of deals and been in the industry for a long time to help you understand how to raise that precious capital. And the Security and Exchange Commission is the one who governs that. And this is the disclaimer: I am not an attorney, I'm not a CPA. In fact, I'm just somebody who goes out and does this stuff and has learned on my own. So I want you to understand that you need to get the right people involved to make sure and help you not go to jail on accident. That'd be terrible, right? So here are the 10 steps to syndicating an apartment complex. The word syndication in this context means pulling together other people's money and buying something that you could not naturally afford. I don't have $5 million in cash to buy this apartment complex, but I can go find a whole lot of investors who have $50,000 or $100,000, and we're going to pull all of our cash together and we're going to go buy this apartment complex or other commercial real estate asset. So, first things first, again, go and find an experienced partner or mentor. I cannot stress how important this is. I did not do this when I started, and because of that, I was destined to make a whole bunch of mistakes, which I did. I made a lot of mistakes, particularly in the first couple of years. And then sometimes you make mistakes that you don't pay for until 2 or 3 years later. And so, 2 years after I made some of those mistakes, I was paying for it, and it was very, very expensive. So don't do that. Learn from other people's mistakes, other people's experiences, learn from other people's successes, or create your own mistakes, downfall, shortcomings, and all, and then pay the price. It's okay. The piper has to be paid. Number two, you want to source and underwrite a deal that will meet your needs. If you need to learn how to source and underwrite a deal, we have a course. We have courses all about these things that you can take, or you can work with our illustrious Jesse Sells, who does this all the time, and myself. Underwriters, you can hire underwriters, you can contract underwriters to do the deal, but you need to figure out what kind of deal you really want and is it going to meet your needs, right? Once you've sourced that deal, you've underwritten it, you've done all the math, and you're like, this is the deal for me. You need to put that deal under contract. And pretty simple: purchase and sell agreement, purchase contract, whatever it is in the state you are in. Pretty simple. That's a contract. An attorney draws it up. You should not draw it up unless you are a commercial real estate attorney. Don't draw it up. Have an attorney draw that up, because there are gotchas in those contracts if you're not prepared for it. Attorneys aren't necessarily going to always prevent you from doing something dumb. No offense. All right. And next step, do your due diligence with the intent to fail. There's plenty of due diligence checklists online that you can find. I know we have an extremely detailed due diligence checklist that covers mobile home parks, apartment communities, storage complexes, all sorts of stuff that we give to our students. Or if you're in the program, we're happy to share that with you. In fact, if you're listening to this and you want the due diligence checklist, send me an email and I'll send it to you for free. No problem. We spent years creating that thing, and it's important. But even more important is understanding what to do with the information you get. So you always do due diligence with the intent to sell the property. You are looking for some reason for that property to fail. Why? Because you don't want to find a reason for it to fail after you buy the property. You want to find that before you buy the property, and that could lead to a price negotiation. Maybe you're going to drop 300 or 400 grand. There was a property where I got a $400,000 write down on the day of closing, the morning of closing. I negotiated hard with the seller because we had uncovered some things, and he relented, dropped the price by $400,000. We called, emailed the title company, and before funds were wired and before the deal was inked, we reduced that price by 400 grand, inked the deal, closed it that day. Funds got wired, and we were off to the races. So we always do due diligence with the intent to sell the property, because you never want to get surprised with an extra $1 or $2 million worth of plumbing after you buy the property, because that will make for a very, very bad deal. Now, here's the part that we're talking about: sourcing debt and equity. So, debt, your mortgage, right? Finding the right lender is crucial to the success of your plan. If you're using a hard money lender or a loan to own lender who is predatory, they may want you to fail, and they'll set up contracts in order for you to fail because they want you to fail. And that is a true story. Don't do that. Only use good, reputable lenders who are going to work with you in case the economy crashes or something else. You want them to work with you and be a great ally. We have great lenders and partners, but in the beginning, because I did not get a mentor, we used really not great lenders. And because of that, we've had issues with some of those lenders. Now, equity is other people's money. This is where you go and you raise other people's money. Maybe it's $500,000. And I remember my first deal, we raised $600,000. I had never raised a penny before. And here I am going out and asking people for money. Fortunately, I had an attorney helping me do the right things and say the right things, or else I would have messed up even worse than I did. So, we raised the money, we got the deal done, and we were off to the races. But that's the secret, folks, is that you can raise other people's money. And I think I only had like $15,000 in that deal. And we bought this mobile home park and we raised $600,000. So you certainly don't need to be rich. You certainly don't need to have a ton of money. I started with $30,000 and bought $70 million worth of real estate in 3 years or so. So can you do that? Absolutely. I know you can. And I had a full time job when I began. I was full time in the Air Force at the time, active duty, working in two different countries, really flying back and forth from the US to Korea all the time. So you can do it. You can absolutely do it. So once you get the debt and equity, make sure all your legal docs are written up. And this time you're going to use what's called a securities attorney. You should probably start the legal docs before you even start talking to investors, or at least receiving any money from investors. Absolutely. But you can go talk to investors first, talk to lenders first. Then get your legal docs written. It usually costs about $15,000. I am not joking. It usually costs about $15,000 for these attorneys to put together these securities agreements. Now, it's not rocket science, but these attorneys that you hire, they must be very familiar with this process. We only work with attorneys now who have done hundreds of syndications because we do not want to be the learning experience for them or their first timers. No offense to new attorneys, right? So, this is where you make sure to protect yourself and protect your investors because you got to protect your investors too. Now, once the legal docs are done, all your money has been raised, your debt is lined up, you close on this beautiful property. Maybe it's a heavy value add and it's ugly on the outside, but you're cleaning it up. You make it beautiful. You make a clean, safe place for people to live, brand new communities, or maybe it's fancy. Whatever is your flavor, whatever it is you want to do, it's the same basic process every single time. And you close, you shake hands at the closing table. Everybody's happy. Seller's happy. Lender's happy, no matter how many arguments you got into on the way to the closing table. But when you close, everybody's friends. All right. And that's it. So now the property is yours, and you may have wanted to skip off into the sunset, but the real work has just begun. And that's when you need to start executing the business plan. So we develop our own business plans based on each property. We're happy to help you develop your business plan. Give me a call, and we could talk to you about how that works. And we'd love to work with you and help you become who you need to become to be a real estate mogul. Even if you're only starting with 30 grand like I did, or 15 grand like my brother started with, we partnered together and we went to work. All right, execute the business plan. And next step, you stabilize and operate. What that means is if there are, you buy a distressed property or whatever it is, you raise the rents because you add more value that tenants or residents are willing to pay for. Whatever it is that you're doing in your business plan, you complete the business plan, you stabilize the property and you operate, you keep it at 90, 92, 95% occupancy, depending on the state, location, occupancy rates differ all over the place, whatever it is, but you stabilize, operates, and you enjoy the cash flow. Your investors enjoy the cash flow that you're distributing to them on a monthly or quarterly basis, whatever your business plan is. That's the next thing. Now, you may do this for 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, however long your business plan calls for. And then you're going to have a liquidation event. Now, this is where the big money comes out of the property. All right. You sell that thing. And hopefully, if you did everything right, you analyzed right, you did not sell in a 2018 or 2023 market crash type situation where you just lost 30% because you were smart and you said, we're going to hold this property for 5 to 7 years or 7 to 10 years. And we're going to time the market. And if the market crashed, we are not selling. We're holding onto the property and everyone's good with that because they came in under that business plan. Then you sell the property, you've made a huge profit, you distribute it to all your investors, and you get a nice check for $1 million or $2 or $3 million or whatever it is, $500,000, and you have a big smile on your face. Say, honey, I just got a check for $1.2 million, and I started with 30 grand. Not too bad. Not too bad. So that's the process buying, and the secret to it is really other people's money, how you raise it and put it together. But I like to think about this a little bit differently. Now, I've done dozens of deals before, and I need to, this is a framework that I came up with because I realized no one had a framework that made any sense, and I needed one. And so this is a 5-step framework that I came up with because you have to start with yourself. What in the world do you want? What do you want your outcome to be? Where are you going? These are important questions. So you start at the end with a head nod to Stephen R. Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. You start at the end, right? Where are you going? If you don't know where you're going, then it doesn't matter what path you're on, right? Alice in Wonderland. Cheshire Cat said that. So figure out where you want to go. Once you know where you need to go, you need to choose a path. And what other people have never told me, but I realized for myself, is that in commercial real estate, you could want to buy apartments, but you want a certain lifestyle, and apartment owners don't get that lifestyle. They have a different lifestyle. So you're like, well, maybe I should do land. Well, maybe you should. But first, if we know where you're going, then we can pick a path. Oh, that's the path that you want to go down, or if this is the end point that you want to achieve, then here's the path. And I'd recommend trying mobile home parks. So you're going to get much better cash flow, way better cash flow than you're going to get off of apartments. It's just a proven fact. It's mathematically better. And so, or maybe you really want to stay in the healthcare, and so urgent care facilities or standalone ERs is your path. And so we can help you on that path, right? But we need to know where you want to go. What kind of life do you want to live? And once you know where you want to go and what kind of life you want to live, we can help you choose a path to get there as expedient as possible. For me, starting with $30,000, a little over a year later, I was worth over $1 million and have 10x that since then. So, and more. So you can do it. I know you can do it. I hope you will do it and you'll make that decision. Once you choose a path, you start building out your foundation. You learn everything you can to become an expert about apartment complexes, about syndication or mobile home parks or storage or land or strip centers or whatever it is you're going to own, triple net leases, CVS pharmacies, blah, 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 blah. Whatever it is, you need to become an expert at that thing. But now you know the path you want to go down, and then it's easy. Instead of trying to learn a little bit about everything, you become an expert at one thing, and then you move. The next step is critical. You find a mentor, coach, and partners who can help you in your journey. In single family, it's all about that tends to be a one person game that we don't see a ton of partnerships. In commercial real estate, it's rare to find anyone out there doing things all by themselves. It's almost impossible unless your daddy or mommy owns a bank and you can go get a small $10 million loan, which I could not. My daddy was broke and he just lost his job when we started. So we and he was my partner in the beginning too. So we started, and he's still my partner. We started and we just went after it and we made something happen. So you need to find a mentor or a coach who can help you avoid those mistakes. And then just go, right? Just go. Launch it, send it, and do it, right? So that's the path, my framework. Start at the end. Once you know the end, choose a path to go down that's going to get you there. Build your foundation nice and strong. Find mentors, coaches, and partners. Some people find mentors and coaches before they even go down the path or know where they're going. And it's highly likely you're going to do the same thing that I did. I hired coaches, I hired mentors, and they were all wrong for me because in the end, I realized that that's not what I wanted. I didn't want to just be a capital raiser. I wanted to be an operator. I wanted to raise money, but produce and make an impact in the world and do affordable housing and blah, 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 blah. That's what I wanted to do. And once I knew that, I chose the path and built the foundation and everything else. And then launch, get out there and do it. Now, because I love you and want you to be successful, let me tell you the 10 commandments of successful syndicators that I put together from my years of experience doing this. Number one, never, ever, ever hide anything, right? Our investors are our partners. They need to know. All right. Now, obviously, you can't tell them everything. If you have a 250 unit property and Sally in unit number 47 um, got in a car wreck and broke her legs, and you guys are helping her out with whatever, that's not necessarily something you have to tell your investors. You can. It's a great story, but you need to tell them the most important things: how money is moving around, what's happening with a project, progress, big issues, small, major issues. And that's, if you told them everything, it would be a 300-page report every single couple of months, right? So we tell them the things that really matter, and we never ever hide anything. If there's even an inkling of an idea that it may be important to investors, then tell them. All right. You always have healthy reserves. Many folks have gone bankrupt because they did not have healthy reserves back in 2018, 19, 20, right before COVID. What I thought was healthy reserves and what I think healthy reserves are now today are different. Okay. So always have healthy reserves. If you're not sure what that means, give me a call. Reach out to info@syndicationlaunch.com and I'll be happy to talk to you about it. Know the SEC rules. You can go to investor.gov or sec.gov and find out. They're right there. They're published for everyone. The SEC even came out earlier in 2020 or mid 2023 with some really nice graphs that make it very even more simple for people to understand. Use due diligence to kill the deal. We talked about that. Slow and steady growth equals strong and sustainable companies. You may get excited like I did and go out and buy 10 deals your first 12 months of buying. Don't do that, right? You're growing too fast, and we had to stop for a year and settle things down and get everything organized and hire new asset managers and build a team and so forth. It's like, don't do that. Don't grow so fast you can't even take care of your properties. All right. So slow and steady growth. We like to say in the military, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. That's how we do it. Number 6, money never crosses streams. If you've seen Ghostbusters, you know about don't ever cross streams, right? Money never crosses streams. That is where a lot of people get in trouble. They take money from one property that's doing great to take care of another property that's not doing great. And there's an inter-property loan that's made, and investors were not told about it. All right, now investors, if the investors are told about it and they're all cool, yeah, we can loan that property money, then do it as long as you have written consent from your investors in accordance with your operating agreement. Otherwise, if you don't have that written consent, don't do it. Money never, ever crosses streams. Go get a loan, go get another investor, raise capital, do a capital call, do whatever it is you need to do to take care of your other property. Money never, ever crosses streams. All right. Number 7, do what you say you will do. All right. If you prepare a business plan, you send it out to investors and, hey, we're going to renovate 10 units a week, and you've never done this before, one, you should never say that. Two, that's a lot of units per week, particularly if you've not done it before. But if you say something, then go do that thing and make sure you fund that thing in the business plan, that there's cash there available for you to do it. All right. Cash flow. If you do not have cash flow, you do not have a sustainable company, period. No cash flow, no company. No cash flow, bankruptcy. Like the bad kind of bankruptcy. There's good bankruptcy that clears slates or saves deals or fends off lenders and so forth. But if you don't have any cash flow and you're bleeding as a company into those deals, you're in trouble. You're in serious trouble. All right, you better get that business plan done, and you certainly shouldn't be out buying new projects if you have a project that's not cash flowing. Number 9, always buy on long-term holds. What I mean by that is always the more time you give yourself, oh, I can get this done in 30 days. I'm a man. I can fix this in 30 days. And 2 years later, you're still working on it, right? That's a problem. You didn't do what you said you would do. You didn't fulfill your business plan. You're now against what you told your investors. Don't do that. So give yourself time. Always buy on long-term holds. If the market changes and you're sitting in 2021 and everything's gone up by 150% or something, you're like, hey, investors, I know we wanted to sell this in 5 years, but the market is screaming and we can get it what we thought we'd get in 5 years right now. Everyone cool if we sell it? Yep. Let's go. Let's make the money. Boom. Then do it. All right. That's flexibility. If you say you're going to keep it or sell it in 3 years, and then that 3 years happens to be 2018, 19, or 22, 23, and you're going to sell it at the bottom of a market because you told investors that's when you were going to sell it when you started, and you didn't give yourself time, then investors are going to expect you to sell it, and you're going to end up selling it at a loss, potentially, or for a lot less than you expected. And they're going to be in trouble. They're going to think you're not a very good syndicator. All right. Because you didn't give yourself a long-term hold. 5 years, 7 years, 10 years are fantastic. And number 10, hire the best legal team you can. I did not do this early on. We only hire very good, strong attorneys now, and it makes a big difference. You may not think it may matter. Nothing's ever going to happen. I didn't steal anything, so nobody's going to accuse me of fraud. I tell you what, I don't know how many people have been accused of fraud before, even though they did not commit fraud, but it's easy to shout out, hey, where's my money? You said I was going to get a 300% return in 6 months and the market crashed. It's not your fault, but they may sue you for fraud, right? So don't skip on legal terms, legal teams, legalities. If you're saying, I don't have the money to do that, well, then come talk to me and join our program, and we will help you partner with other people who can pay for it in the beginning. And so you can build out your foundation. And then when you're ready to do it on your own or lead, then you can do it the right way. Pro tip: security attorneys are expensive, totally worth it. Learn from others or make your own mistakes. We talked about this before. Hey, I've made a ton of mistakes. Some of those mistakes have cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars. A couple of those mistakes have cost me millions of dollars, either because we missed out on an opportunity or we could have done something that we were not able to do because we had made a mistake, and therefore we were not able to realize the millions of dollars in profits we would have. That stings. And it's like, I wish I could go back 5-6 years ago and say, hey, Sam, hire a coach. But I thought it was too expensive. I'm like, whatever they cost, it wasn't going to be $1 million. All right. A good coach is the single best investment you can make. I have a coach now. In fact, I have a couple of coaches, and they have changed my life personally and business wise. And it's fantastic. They're also very expensive, but they're totally worth it. Absolutely. So I hope you enjoyed this course. We have lots of courses like this and much, much better, more details. We have tons of documents. Check us out at syndicationlaunch.com. We're always trying to make that website better and stronger. And if you have any questions at all, shoot me an email. Send me an email, info@syndicationlaunch.com. Thank you for joining us, and I hope that you learned something from this video. And if anything else, you can do it. You're one decision away. Make that decision and go.